To make a job registry in API Pro, we normally use job feedback by work order. The program we find here in maintenance, job feedback by work order. The window here we can use to find all the work orders that has been started. It means we cannot see job that has only been planned, and we cannot see job that is already in history. Normally when we have the window here, we also have the job card in our hand, and then we can see the number of the work order key. So I put in my work order key here, and then I use page down or use my navigation next. The system will find my information in the database. From here I need to add some information. Some is optional and some is mandatory. The job execution date is mandatory. If you don't put any date in it, the system will do it when we finish the job. Normally I will double click on the field here, and I will put in the date where I physically stopped the job, when it was finished. This might not be the same day as I actually enter the data into the database here. In this case, I did it yesterday. Most of the information is already coming from the planning, but we have some information we need to update. In this case, we have error code 1, 2, and 3. Error code 1, 2, and 3 is to define what happened with the job itself. So in this case here, we take error code 1. We look at the list, and here we can define what kind of job it was that we were working with. This might not have anything to do with the description of the job. This is how the operator sees the job. In this case, I take the example as mechanical. Error code 2 tried then to describe something else about the job. I look at the list. In this case, I have another set of information that I can give a description of what the operator saw. The repair guy, the maintenance department, see this as an operator. This was damaged by the operator itself. Error code 3 renewed, for example, the part. I don't have to fill in these information unless they're mandatory, which they're not in this case. To the right, we don't have the time. When we did the job, was there any time that was caused by stop or waiting or just waiting for spares? In this case, I can add to the system how long time I was waiting for something. This can be used for making KPIs in the history. Then I put in here my finished responsible. Normally I will be finished here, but I should also go in the description and put in information what I saw and what I did. So if this was not a prevented job, I would put in here information how I solved the case. The tab here for the planning is only about information that was coming directly from the planning itself. Normally I will not change these information. The last tab, status, gives the same information as we have from the planning itself. That the job is in progress, the job cutter was printed, and if it was skipped. And then I have the financial part in it. I can see what was the budget, what was planned of the cost, and how much I have actually used. So I go back to the main window. Now I'm finished with the first part. I save it. The window here is divided into two sections. The upper section is one window and the lower section is another window. So now we go to the other window and put in the work supplier. I can see now that I have a work supply group here that is planned to use 3 hours. Normally we plan on a group and not on a person. So in this case I put in who I was and how many hours I did on the job. In this case I double click on the field. When I double click I get the list of all the work supplies. And here I will find myself and select me. Then I tap, let's select the mouse into here, and I put in my used hours. It might not be the same as the planned hours. Here I put in how many hours I actually used. 4. Next part here is if I used some spare part on it. I will select the spare part. Here I have 3 options. I can add another spare part that is maybe not on the stock by using add spares. Or I can use add service. If I use an add service here, I can put in what kind of service I did. It could be a cleaning, 1 hour, and I put in a cost. Could also add a spare part. The spare part here might not be on the part list, it might not be on stock at all. Normally it won't be. If I don't have the type number directly, I can also put in here the name of the spare part that I used. In this case, I just put in here water. Put in a value and save it. The third option, which is the normal one, would be make a stock removal. So I select my stock removal and now go to the other program for the stock removal transactions. Here we already have the information about it. We know which main stock it is from. We know the work order, the maintenance object, and the account. Normally I should only tell the system what I want to do. Should it be a removal or return? Most of the time it will be a removal. I can only make a return if I already have made a removal before. So in this case I just select new. Normally when I do a work order here, it's planned. That means I also have a spare part that has a reservation on it. In this case here I have 3 options, as we can see. We have the complete list, we have the planned spare part, and we have the spare part list. That will be the part list. Since I already have a reservation, I use my list. And here I can see my reservation. I select it. Tell the system how many did I actually use. Oh, do you want to use it? Yes. And then I select OK. Remove the reservation. Yes. Now took out the spare part and it's connected to the work order to the maintenance object. Can close it. So now I created here 3 transactions. The first one here for the water was just a spare part. The second was a service. And the third one was a stock removal. Now close it. So now I'm finished. But before we finish here, let's have a look at the buttons here. When I have a job registration, I can still go in here and add a counter reading if I have some. I can also go in and just set it at technical finished. This means that the status of the job would be set to technical finished, but it's not finished yet in history. But if it is a preventive job, it will create the next. I can also use planned. That means to transfer all the planned time. Spare part, we already looked at it. Then we have the work instruction. If I have more in work instruction that I need to attend to, related work orders, I can also go in and skip the jobs. The last one here is a log. When I look at the log, I can see every time the work order has changed in status. So now I'm finished, and I simply select Finish Registration. When I click it, it will ask me, are you sure? Yes. OK here. It means the work order will be technically moved to the work history table and disappear from this window. if this job here was a preventive job, it will create the next one. This is a finish of a registration of a work order.